everybody, it's me, Benson. And the world of mobile gaming is crazy. And recently, big companies have joined in, like Xbox, Sega, and most notably Nintendo. They've made new games in lots of their biggest franchises for mobile, like Mario Kart Tour, Super Mario Run, Animal Crossing Pocket Camp, Pokemon Go, Pikmin Bloom, and Dr. Mario World. And for free-to-play mobile games, they're pretty good. So you may be wondering why I'm talking about them in a Lost Media video. Well, there's one big problem with Nintendo's mobile games. They're server dependent. You see, they're not like other games. They're always online. To even play it, you need to be connected to the internet. Each game has its own server, so basically to play the game, the phone has to have internet, and then it connects to the game's server, and the server streams the game to the phone. The app isn't the actual game, it's just a virtual key to the game's server. And it costs the game companies a lot to keep the servers up and running. So that means that if the game company, for whatever reason, shuts down the server, the game becomes unplayable forever. And a victim of this is Dr. Mario World. The story begins in 2017. Super Mario Run was released with the $10 price tag. It has no microtransactions. But there's a reason mobile games are free, and it's because people don't like spending money up front on games. So it didn't do too well, and that made Nintendo make all their future mobile games free to play with microtransactions. Then in 2019, Dr. Mario World released, and the only way Dr. Mario World could make any money was through microtransactions. And in the actual game, they barely even show microtransactions. That's good for us, but bad for the game. Dr. Mario World obviously did badly, and it's obvious why. But the game stayed alive for the next 2 years, and I played it a lot. But then on July 28th, 2021, almost on its 2-year anniversary, it was announced that the server would be shut down on November 1st. This was really sad to me, because I loved this game and had so much fun with it. The months went by, and then on November 1st at 6 p.m., just like they said, it shut down. It became a literal waste of space. And it's now lost to media. It's scary to think that these mobile games can just all of a sudden shut down and never be playable again with the push of a button. Every mobile game will eventually shut down and never be playable. That's scary for lost media archivers like me. Imagine if games like Mario Odyssey were server reliant. Eventually it would be shut down. It's bad, but that's just how the mobile game world works. But at least the game is archived on the internet. It may not be around anymore, but we'll remember it. I'm Benson, and thank you for watching. Hey everybody, it's me, Benson. And in the early 2000s, the Game Boy Advance SP was super popular. And there was the GBA bundle that included The Legend of Zelda: The Minish Cap. And since Zelda has had most of their games be gold, there was a promotion with the bundle. There were a few golden tickets, Wonka style, in random Zelda GBA bundles, and if you got a Zelda GBA bundle and a golden ticket was in it, you could use it to claim a 24-karat gold Game Boy Advance SP. That's crazy. And for many years, there was barely any information about the contest on the internet. The only one I could find is a top 10 video from the early 2010s. But people did find some promotional posters advertising it, and the product images that showed it. And it obviously wasn't on eBay. For such a long time, nobody even had images of it in hand. And people had lots of questions about it, like how much of it was really gold, and what kind of box did it come in, and how many were produced. People were even questioning if the contest was even real at all, or if it was just a big PR stunt to get people to buy more Zelda GBA bundles. But as the search for it grew, more info about it kept popping up. And then in 2019, some Twitter and Simon B. Watts, who assisted in the production of them, confirmed that the contest was real, and confirmed that the only 2 images of the SP in hand on the web were legitimate. He also gave some insight on how they were made, like how they were made with a process called electroplating, which made them the same weight as a normal GBA SP, but aren't solid gold. And he also said that they didn't come in any special packaging. But that does make it hard to determine which gold GBAs are real or just a normal GBA with some gold spray paint. We don't have many images of it, only 2. The first picture is from an eBay UK auction, which didn't even mention the contest, and the other picture is from some Spanish forum where the owner claimed he found it at an old thrift store. They both seemed suspicious, but they were confirmed as real. So that makes you wonder if something this rare can end up in an eBay UK auction and an old thrift store, what other pieces of lost media are out there. Well, there's only one way to find out. I'm Benson, and thank you for watching. everybody, it's me, Benson. And the Wii was on top of the world in the late 2000s. It's still the most popular game console in America, and to most families who had it, they thought it was simple. Just a white box with a white stick covered in rubber. But just like every game console, it's super complicated and was hard to make. The Wii makers were having such difficulties with many things, but most prominently starting up the console. With the complexity of the menu, it was difficult to make it all load in perfectly. Then they had an idea. A Wii startup disc. You've probably never heard of it, so I'm going to tell you about it. I'm Benson, and welcome back to Lost Media Legends. The reason the Wii startup disc is so obscure is because it was only needed to boot up prototype Wiis. Because later on they fixed the Wii, removing the startup problems, so they didn't bundle the startup disc in with the Wii consoles everyone has. The Wii startup disc only came with prototype Wiis, which were for display kiosks. Let's talk more about that. At first, the system wouldn't even have a menu. It would just have text asking a store employee to insert a startup disc. After the startup disc was inserted, the console would download the needed firmware and data off the disc, and it would just become a regular Wii. But the thing is, these startup disc requiring Wiis weren't just for display kiosks. These Wiis were sold to the public, supposedly bundled with the startup disc, instead of Wii Sports. It said so on some Wii boxes. But I said supposedly because nobody has revealed publicly that they own the disc and the special Wii, and at the time of recording, it's never been found. But even though the startup disc itself has never been found, the special Wii that required it is well documented. Nintendo themselves mentions it on the Wii support page on their website. They say it's an operating system problem that needs to be repaired. Very sneaky, Nintendo. They're just doing this because they didn't want anyone having these prototype Wiis. And they were willing to give anyone who had the special Wii and startup disc a brand new Wii if they sent the special Wii and startup disc back to Nintendo. So that's why these special Wii and startup discs are so lost. Barely any were sold to the public, and the ones that were got sent back to Nintendo. This special Wii and startup disc will forever be lost media. Until when someone found the special Wii on eBay. The person bought it and recorded it, so now we have footage of what the menu looked like, and what the startup disc might look like. But sadly, the actual startup disc still hasn't been found. But one thing from the startup disc was found. The ID. You see, in the early 2010s, some people found that in the Wii's data, it said that every Wii console would refuse to play a disc with the ID RAAE, and nobody knew why or what that disc was. But then later on, after the special Wii was found on eBay, people found in the special Wii's menu, it referred to the startup disc as, you guessed it, RAAE. But that is where the story ends. The special Wii was found, and some of the startup disc was found. It's kinda crazy that with a console as popular as the Wii, a different version of it could be such a big, elusive mystery. But hey, if Mean Girls DS could be found, maybe one day the Wii startup disc will be found. I'm Benson, and thank you for watching. Hey everybody, it's me, Benson. And there were some weird video games in the 90s. A Burger King game, Seaman, Glover, but the strangest one is the game all about Bill Clinton's cat. Yes, it's a real game. It's a 2D platformer. It was advertised, promoted, then all of a sudden cancelled. I wonder why. But this game became lost media, and I'm gonna talk about the history of it. I'm Benson, and welcome back to Lost Media Legends. Very early on in the search, it was discovered that someone owned a sample cartridge of the game. The Lost Media Hunters pestered him to record footage of the game, and he eventually did. He uploaded a super low quality video of the game in action. I didn't know a video could be in negative 40p. The low quality was intentional because the owner thought it would diminish its value. I disagree. But later on, the owner sold the cartridge. And the new owner of it did something crazy. He bought the legal rights to the game. That means he could make new Socks to Cat games if he wanted to. And then he started a crowdfunding campaign to re-release the game. A company called Second Dimension Games was publishing it, and the campaign raised over $30,000, and the game was re-released on the SNES, the last official SNES game ever released. And now if you want to, you can buy and play it. And this is amazing. The fact that what was considered a completely lost piece of lost media was found and re-released is crazy. It's no longer lost media. Now everyone can play it. Thanks to one man caring so much about Bill Clinton's cat's game, this shows you that no matter what it is, any piece of lost media can eventually be found. And now we can all enjoy Socks the Cat rockin' the hill. I'm Benson, and thank you for watching. everybody, it's me, Benson. And Mean Girls is a 2004 movie, and 505 Games wanted to make a game based off of it. Or did they? Listings for the game are on all the shopping sites. It had articles, and even a live YouTube video countdown until its release. But strangely, not a single person had a copy of it. People had theories that it was so irrelevant that nobody bought a copy, but then some screenshots from the game were found on an Italian gaming website, multiplayer.it. So that proved that the game existed in some capacity. But then we got a response from the company that made the game, 505 Games, about the game, and they said it was just never published, so it never came out. But for years we were taunted by the screenshots from the game. It must have been released, right? Well, a common thing in gaming is before the release of the game, sending a copy to reviewers and critics early so they can make an early review. And people had a theory that they did that with this game, and they were right. The game is real and does exist. Earlier this year, everything from the review copy of the game was uploaded to YouTube, and the game is now fully preserved. The search for this game ended not with it being confirmed fake, but with it not only being proven as real, but being fully preserved forever on the internet. All thanks to a few lost media hunters. This game will forever go down as the greatest success in lost media history. I'm Benson, and thank you for watching.